Here's the requested paragraph incorporating every word from the provided lines. Big news out of Cowboys Nation this morning. Zion Childress has officially been claimed off the practice squad by the Houston Texans, stepping up to join their active roster. For the kid from Houston, this is a dream come true, returning home and earning a legitimate spot on an NFL team's 53-man roster. For the Cowboys, it's one of those situations that stings a little. You never like to see a player you've been developing leave, especially for more playing time. But let's put it in perspective. Childress wasn't on the main roster. He was on the practice squad, and he was playing behind Reddy Stewart, who actually has shown flashes of competence in the nickel corner role. It's one of those things where, yes, you feel the impact in the short term, but it's far from catastrophic for the team's depth at cornerback. The bigger picture is that in the not-too-distant future, the Cowboys are expecting returns from Savoni Revel and Callan Carson. Both of these corners are expected to rejoin the rotation and make an immediate impact, which would naturally limit the path to meaningful playing time for Childress, even if he had stayed. So, while it's a little bittersweet to see him leave, it's not exactly a major blow for Dallas. Still, fans can't help but feel a twinge of here we go again thinking, remembering past scenarios where a player left and found greater success elsewhere. You don't want to be pessimistic, but it's human nature to wonder if the Cowboys just lost a hidden gem. Moving on, the roster shakeups don't stop with Childress. There's a lot of chatter about potential additions to the defensive backfield, and one name that keeps coming up is Chance Gardner-Johnson, who goes by both Chance and TJ Gardner-Johnson, depending on who you ask. And the interest from Cowboys fans has been real. Post-Week 1, the safety situation in Dallas has been a bit underwhelming. Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson have had their moments, but overall, the production has been inconsistent at best. Wilson might be a team captain, but even he's been outshined in rotation by Juan Thomas at certain points over the past couple of weeks. That brings Gardner-Johnson into the conversation. At his peak, Gardner-Johnson was an absolute force, a dynamic player who thrived in the box and had a flair for impactful, aggressive football. He's the kind of player who brings energy, and his style often borders on unhinged in the best way possible, just enough to make big plays while getting under opponents' skin. You can argue that sometimes a team needs a little of that edge, a player who can shake things up in the secondary, but there are red flags, and they're impossible to ignore. Gardner-Johnson's time in Houston, according to various reports, included multiple blown assignments per game, failure to follow his own principles, and even instances of blaming teammates for his mistakes. There are also reports of him criticizing teammates over perceived pay discrepancies and openly requesting a trade. These are not trivial issues, and they raise questions about whether the Cowboys will be taking on a player with high-maintenance tendencies. Still, the upside of Gardner-Johnson is undeniable. If he's at his best, he can change the dynamic of a secondary in a single game. He's the type of player who can make an immediate impact if integrated properly and motivated. It's a risk-reward calculation. Is the potential for game-changing plays worth the potential locker room disruption? His career has already seen multiple team changes, including the stints in Philadelphia, and this move to Houston would mark his 6th team in 5 years. That history alone signals caution, but for a team in need of defensive reinforcements, it's a conversation worth having. While Gardner-Johnson dominates the chatter, there's also Justin Simmons, who has been surprisingly unsigned as we approach week 4 of the NFL season. Simmons isn't the player he was at his prime with Denver, but even in decline, he's a proven safety who can bring stability and leadership to a shaky secondary. His PFF grades have trended downward year over year, showing a decline in his overall play. But compared to what Dallas currently has, he could offer more reliability. Simmons is turning 30 this November, which in a league dominated by younger, faster players is a factor. But experience and football IQ can often outweigh the physical decline, especially when your current roster is underperforming. Now, weighing these options, Gardner-Johnson versus Simmons is not straightforward. Gardner-Johnson brings energy, aggression, and playmaking ability, but comes with off-field and chemistry concerns. Simmons is steady, experienced, and methodical, but not the dynamic impact player he once was. The Cowboys are in a position where desperate times might require desperate measures, and choosing which safety to pursue could define the trajectory of their defense for the remainder of the season. Fans and analysts alike are debating this, and rightfully so, because it's not just about talent. It's about fit, mentality, and the team culture that a player brings with him. And then there's Stephon Gilmore, another veteran quarterback who remains unsigned. Gilmore is 35, and while he's not the player he was in his prime, he remains a serviceable option, especially if Dallas wants depth and experience in the quarterback rotation. Injuries and underperformance among the Cowboys corners make him a potentially valuable addition, even if he wouldn't start over someone like Clay Carson once fully healthy. The challenge here is motivation and perception. Does Gilmore see Dallas as a contender? Veteran players with championship or near championship experience weigh team trajectory heavily before signing, and if he doesn't feel the team is a contender, he might not even consider coming. Offensively, the Cowboys have been exploring options as well, particularly on the line. Injuries have hit positions like tackle and guard, and names like Mark Linsky have surfaced as potential additions to provide depth. While he may not be a perfect upgrade over current options like T.J. Bass, having a veteran familiar with the system and with prior experience, alongside other Cowboys offensive linemen, could serve as a valuable insurance policy. Depth in the NFL, particularly midseason, can be the difference between survival and disaster, and any player who can provide that, even if not a starter, becomes an important piece of the puzzle. Zion Childress's departure opens a practice squad spot, and that's where players like Lewinsky or other experienced veterans could fit in. A practice squad role might not be glamorous, but it keeps these players ready in case of emergency and allows the team to maintain continuity. If injuries hit, that's part of the balancing act NFL teams constantly play, managing talent, depth, potential, and locker room chemistry. The Cowboys are in a moment where every roster decision carries weight. Quarterbacks are returning from injury, safeties have underperformed, and veterans are available who could help stabilize the unit. It's a juggling act that requires assessing talent, evaluating temperament, and projecting how each piece fits into a defensive puzzle. For fans, this is the time to get excited and worried, simultaneously excited for the possibilities and potential upgrades, worried about the risks and the unknowns that come with integrating new players midseason. Every signing, every roster move carries implications that go beyond the field. They affect chemistry, coaching strategy, and ultimately wins and losses. Picking up where we left off, the defensive questions for the Cowboys go far beyond just Zion Childress leaving. The secondary, particularly the safety room, has been under the microscope since the season began. Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson, both highly regarded talents on paper, have struggled to maintain consistent play. Hooker has flashed at times, but there's been enough inconsistency to make fans wonder if the current roster can handle the pressure of a full NFL season without reinforcements. Wilson, despite being a captain and a vocal leader, has had moments where he simply hasn't delivered, and the team has occasionally turned to younger players like Juan Thomas for coverage duties, which speaks volumes about the gaps in performance. That's where the conversation about adding a player like Chance Gardner-Johnson becomes intriguing, if not complicated. Gardner-Johnson at his best is explosive. He brings a level of intensity and unpredictability that can completely alter a game. He can read offenses, make plays in the box, and create turnovers in ways that few safeties can. But the red flags cannot be overlooked. His history of inconsistent assignment execution, public criticism of teammates, and prior trade requests raised legitimate concerns about whether he would fit within the culture the Cowboys are trying to maintain. It's a gamble. Do you take on a player who can produce game-changing moments, but might also create distractions or chemistry issues in the locker room? For a team that has struggled in the defensive backfield, it's a conversation worth having, but it's one that comes with caveats. On the other side of the coin is Justin Simmons. Simmons may not be the explosive force he was during his prime with Denver, but he brings reliability and experience to a unit that has seen its share of struggles. His PFF grades have shown a gradual decline over the last few seasons, and while that's a warning sign, he still represents a significant upgrade over what the Cowboys currently have on the roster. His age, turning 30 to this November, is a factor, particularly in a game that favors speed and young legs, but football intelligence, positioning, and leadership often offset physical decline. Simmons offers a more stable, low-risk addition to the secondary, someone who can communicate effectively, cover his responsibilities, and anchor the safety room even if he's not making highlight reel plays every week. The comparison between Simmons and Gardner-Johnson essentially comes down to risk versus reward. Simmons is steady, predictable, and dependable, Gardner Johnson is high energy, potentially game-changing, but unpredictable and sometimes problematic. In September, the Cowboys are in that break glass in case of emergency mode where desperate times require desperate measures. It's not about building the perfect defense for the future. It's about shoring up immediate weaknesses and trying to salvage a season that has started with more questions than answers. Both players offer benefits, but the decision hinges on what the coaching staff values more: consistent performance or explosive upside. Meanwhile, the quarterback situation also demands attention. Injuries have hit hard, with Don Bland banged up and others rotating in and out of the lineup. Stephon Gilmore remains unsigned, a veteran corner who could bring depth and experience to the rotation. Gilmore is 35, and while he's far from the player he was in his prime, he's serviceable and familiar with NFL schemes. The question for Dallas is whether he fits into their immediate plan. If everyone on the roster is healthy, Gilmore probably wouldn't start over Clay Carson or other younger corners, but he could serve as a reliable backup who knows the nuances of the position and can step in without completely destabilizing the unit. His motivation is another factor. Veteran players at this stage often weigh the team's championship potential before signing, and if Gilmore doesn't view Dallas as a contender, that could be a deal-breaker, even if his skills on the field are still valuable. The offensive line has its own set of challenges. Injuries to key players like Tyler Booker have forced the team to look for depth options. Names like Mark Glowinski have emerged, mostly as potential practice squad or emergency fill-in options. Glowinski isn't a starting caliber upgrade over TJ Bass or other current linemen, but his familiarity with certain Cowboys players and his veteran experience make him a practical choice for depth purposes. In the NFL, having seasoned players ready to step in during injury crises can be just as important as signing star talent. It's the kind of strategic planning that doesn't make headlines but can literally save games. Over the course of a grueling season, Zion Childress's move to Houston frees up a practice squad spot, which could be a critical opportunity for Dallas. Adding a player like Glowinski or another experienced veteran keeps options open. If injuries hit again, providing insurance without committing a roster spot to a long-term starter. These are the types of moves that can make or break a team's midseason momentum. Depth is a strategic weapon, and the Cowboys now have a small but crucial window to strengthen it while keeping future options open. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In what is shaping up to be one of the most shocking moments in recent NFL gossip, Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer appeared to lose his cool during a live broadcast, sending the sports world into a frenzy. Sources close to the team report that Schottenheimer, known for his usually composed demeanor, unexpectedly called for the departure of a key player, sparking speculation and a whirlwind of rumors across social media. Eyewitnesses claimed that during a segment meant to break down the Cowboys' offensive strategy, Schottenheimer's commentary took an uncharacteristic turn. Frustration seemed to boil over as he reportedly hinted and, in some interpretations, outright stated that the team might be better off without one of its current roster members. While no names were explicitly mentioned, insiders suggest that this could have massive implications for the locker room and team dynamics. The Cowboys, who have experienced ups and downs this season, could be facing a critical juncture. Fans and analysts alike are dissecting every word of Schottenheimer's outburst, trying to figure out whether it was a spontaneous slip of emotion or a deliberate signal to management. Some speculated it could relate to performance issues, clashes in the locker room, or simply a difference in vision between coach and player. Regardless of the cause, the incident has immediately sparked debates about leadership, accountability, and the pressure that comes with maintaining one of the league's most scrutinized offenses. Social media exploded within minutes of the live moment, with hashtags about the Schottenheimer outburst trending and fans demanding explanations. Pundits are weighing in on whether this could lead to a trade, a benching, or even a larger shakeup within the Cowboys' coaching and player structure. Former players and commentators are pointing out that emotional displays are rare for someone like Schottenheimer, raising questions about what might have triggered this sudden eruption. As the Cowboys organization has yet to comment officially, speculation continues to mount. Will this be a temporary lapse, a strategic nudge from management to take action, or the start of a high-profile split between coach and player? For now, The NFL world is left buzzing with intrigue, analyzing every clip, every phrase, and every gesture from what may be one of the most dramatic moments in recent team history. One thing is certain, Dallas fans are in for a stormy offseason if this rumor gains any traction. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.